John Ruggio, a Rapids Parish-based photographer, has been arrested on 25 counts of pornography involving juveniles with the intent to distribute. News Channel 5 has also confirmed with multiple sources that Ruggio officiates basketball, baseball, and softball games with the Louisiana High School Athletic Association. Ruggio was arrested by the Rapids Parish Sheriff's Office on Monday afternoon. He posted a $50,000 bond. And according to the Sheriff's Office, on April 9th, they began their investigation after receiving a complaint about the non-consensual disclosure of a private image. Detectives got a search warrant for Ruggio's house in Boyce, and during the search, detectives said they found various electronic items that were seized for forensic processing, and they found numerous images depicting child pornography. Ruggio was taken into custody and booked on the 25 counts. That investigation is ongoing, and anyone with information is asked to contact the Sheriff's Office. Now, this isn't Ruggio's first accusation of child pornography. In January 2001, he was indicted on a count of pornography with juveniles. That was tied to a 2000 complaint, and 2 counts of indecent behavior with a juvenile tied to a 1999 complaint. The district attorney's office dismissed the pornography charge in December 2001, but Ruggio entered a plea of no contest to 2 felony charges of contributing to the delinquency of a juvenile in lieu of the indecent behavior charges. He was represented by Camille Giordano. Assistant District Attorney T. Gerald Henderson prosecuted. Judge Harry Rando sentenced Ruggio to pay a fine and court costs, but that sentence was suspended under Article 893, which allows the imposition of a sentence for a first-time non-violent felony conviction to be set aside. Instead, Ruggio was placed on supervised probation.